Hello. How you guys doing? It's weird because I feel like I'm talking to myself with a slight chance that someone else will watch this. But if you are watching this and you're not me, how you doing? Let me know. Feels good to be back on my back porch. Yesterday was a lot of fun. I went up to the sequoias with a friend of mine, hugged a tree or two. I'll put pictures up right here somewhere if I can figure out how to do that. But it was fun. Mostly just drove and talked and listened to music. It was nice. I saw a 1,000-year-old tree. If I can figure out how to put it up, I'll put it up. It's crazy. 1,000 years. The guy that was there, he said, over 1,000 years old. It's wild. Year 1024 at the latest. It's wild. Imagine how many people saw that tree. How many lifetimes have happened. Pull some cards. See what comes out. That last video I posted, I feel like it was a good video. None of my videos do I want anybody to think I'm like the way I see it is, since we're all connected, anything that I say is directed toward myself. And I'm processing this stuff in the meantime. Like, I hope I don't ever come off as I know better than anyone, or anything like that. It's basically just me pulling cards and connecting with my higher self, which is all about love. Just connecting to the love source, you know, to bring forward whatever message of love comes forward. It's just as much for me as it is for anybody that watches my videos. And a lot of the stuff that I talk about, like, I feel like we go through different stages in our life, and sometimes we have to come back to things that maybe we already learned before, because, you know, things happen and you kind of get lost in it sometimes. But I feel like Source is always leading you back to love. So sometimes you have to go learn some things and then come back and use those things that you learned and apply them for a bigger perspective, a bigger outlook, you know? So yeah, I don't want anybody to think that I'm not on a high and mighty cloud, and I don't ever want to come off that way either. I just feel like I've learned a lot throughout my life, and I've been led for a really long time to help people use the knowledge that I've learned throughout my life and through the things that I've experienced as the ultimate message of love. You know what I mean? We all have our own messages of love because we all have our own lives and our own experiences. And it's all love at the end of the day. So if I can share any kind of insight or knowledge that I may have while connecting to my higher self, I feel like it's worth it. All right. Let's get some cards. Okay, got one card. You know, there's cards in this deck that I've never seen. It's crazy. Excuse me. Since I've had this deck, there's a few cards that continue to come up frequently. And yet other cards that I know I've never seen. I've seen them in other decks, but this particular deck I haven't seen them yet. So I just think that's kind of, is it my higher self yelling at me? It's like, yeah, okay, you get it, but do you really get it? Because why do I have to keep throwing the same card out? All right, one more card. Ooh. I love when the deck card comes out. The deck card. Alright. I already know, oh well, I should probably leave these out. I already know I'm gonna have to look in the guidebook. So I have the Four of Pentacles. The High Priestess. And the Eight of Cups. She returns. Spirit really wants us to let go of some stuff. So let me look at this Four of Pentacles. Pentacles are about abundance. And just in case you don't understand what abundance is, when people talk about abundance, it's not just money. It's all sorts of abundance, you know? All sorts of different things. Where are you, Pentacles? Here you are. All right. I know what the High Priestess is, but I'm just going to look and see what the guidebook has to say. So I don't think I've ever read that one from this deck. So I'm thinking, it's so weird. All of these messages, I mean, it's not really weird. Because it is, divinely guided. But the last 3 videos feel like, like the first one was talking about like the big picture of ascension, and the second one was about the initial start of that. Then yesterday's was like talking about the work, and I feel like this one today is talking about once you've walked away from your attachments and things that no longer serve you. Once you've done the work, in other words, and you've walked into the sunset, or towards the sun, you become the high priestess and start attracting this abundance in your life. This is something that I'm working on currently. I think this card comes with a caution. About jealousy of other people. I think the impression that I am getting just off of this spread is to not compare yourself to other people and where they're at on their journey. So I think it can be really easy sometimes to look out and see all the, abundance that other people have in their lives and think, why is that not happening for me? Like for me personally, I've wanted to buy a house for a pretty long time. I started looking for a house back in June of last year. And I was like looking and looking and looking and looking. Like I must have gone and looked at, God, I don't know, 20 houses, condos, whatever. And I was growing more and more frustrated the more I did that, because I felt like I was in a place where I could receive the opportunity to buy a house, which to me represents like stability. I've had a lot of times in my life where I didn't feel very stable. And I think in a weird way, the thought of owning my own house feels like stability to me. So the longer I looked for a house and the longer it was taking, I was growing more and more frustrated, to the point where I felt like every single house that I was looking at just was getting worse and worse and worse. And I caught myself thinking, like, man, other people make it look so easy. We'll let the plane go by. The plane wanted to make an appearance today. So, anyway, I was growing more and more frustrated, and I was starting to get upset at the thought of, like, the fact that other people my age and younger are out there buying houses and seemingly getting everything they ever wanted in their life. And then I just stopped looking for a house because I was kind of just over it. But the thing is, I live in a house. I mean, I don't own it, but I live in a house. I have a roof over my head. It's not like I'm out in the street. And my higher self basically was like, you have to be happy with the abundance that you have in your life first, before other abundance can come in. And I think I've struggled with that on and off. Well, I appreciate what I have in my life, but I was just caught up in that thought of, like, I want this, I need this, you know, to the point that I was losing my appreciation for my situation currently. So I think that was a lesson, but I think that that's what this card is about. It's like, you might not be there yet. You might not have everything you ever wanted. But be grateful for what you do have. So that other things of abundance can come in. Stay in that high priestess energy. Don't let the 3D win. When I was looking for a house and I was getting frustrated, it turned into like a lack mindset, which is what people talk about all the time, which I think was just hindering the process for me. It's almost like I became desperate for it. It's like when I first started looking at houses, I was so excited at the prospect of owning my own house. And then I got so attached to that idea that when it didn't work out, my human brain was like, turned negative. Which I think ended up stopping me from actually being able to do it. So now that I've stopped searching and I've, my higher self was like, appreciate what you have first. I know that, and the other thing too is like, how do I even know that that is what is meant for me? Like, I really have to learn how to be open to whatever decides to come in. If I'm like dead set on the idea that I'm going to be a homeowner one day, which, you know, I'd still like to be. But, you know, maybe the bigger picture is that I'm not even meant to be where I live, in the town that I live in. So if I buy a house, that makes that so much harder to get me out to where I need to be. So there's like a bigger plan, and I need to be open to it and just stay in this high priestess energy of like, everything for me is always for me. I basically have to get out of my own way and let the universe do its job, like it does with everything else. I was listening to this person talking earlier. There's a place where I live. I've never actually gone there, but they live stream when they hold services, and he was talking about abundance, literally this. Literally this. And he said something really interesting. He was like, which is ironic because I was just out in the forest yesterday hugging trees. He was like, when you go out in nature and you see all the trees and the plants and the animals, you realize that all of that is growing. All of that is self-sustaining. All of that is abundant without any intervention from humans whatsoever. So, if the universe can do that with nature, and humans are nature, then there's no reason that the universe doesn't also have a plan for you. I just thought that was so interesting. He's like, you just have to get out of the way. Like what I just said. You just have to get out of the universe's way. Be grateful for what you have. Don't look at other people and think, wow, they seem to have everything. Like, we're all on our own journey, right? So I just have to believe that there's a plan for me. And just enjoy the ride while I'm here. You know? I feel like when it's time to buy a house, if it's ever time to buy a house, that'll be revealed to me. But in the meantime, I'm just going to be sitting on my back porch, making little videos, pulling cards, talking to myself in a camera, chilling, listening to the birds chirp and the leaves blow in the wind. I feel like that's such a lighter message than from what it was yesterday. That was pretty heavy. Well, it's pretty straightforward. I think that's the message for today. Thank you guys for watching. If there's people watching. I think I'm mostly making these videos so I can look back on them one day. Like, I picture myself looking back on these in like 10 years and being like, wow. Not in a bad way, but just like seeing where I am now. I can picture my future self looking at me right now and where I'm at now, and then reflecting over this point to that point and going, dang, life just kind of unfolded. Just have to trust the process. It's all about surrender. It's all about just surrendering to what is and enjoying it in the moment. Doing what you can to make yourself happy, finding the things that bring you joy. Surrounding yourself with people that make you feel loved. Even if that's just you. And that's not a sad thing. I feel like if we can become best friends with ourselves, that's like the ultimate win. If you can be alone with yourself, that's pretty cool. You must be pretty cool if you can be cool with yourself. Alright, well, I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys soon. I hope you guys have a good day, wherever you are. Okay, bye.